Hey everyone, today we're joined by a star of professional wrestling. He's been involved in the industry for over 2 decades, known for his time in various British wrestling promotions, appearances with TNA Wrestling, and of course with WWE as part of NXT UK. Dave, sir, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning.
Likewise, I'm a big fan of yours. I was talking to you off camera where, I'm from the United States, obviously, so I didn't necessarily get to follow a lot of your independent wrestling career. It was more towards the tail end with Progress. And then, of course, WWE, where I was such a fan of your work. And, I was just, once we were able to arrange this, I was so excited. So thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you.
Now, before we get going, I like to start and end the show with plugs. Where can people check you out? What should people look for?
I'm on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days as at Dave Mastiff. No blue check mark because we got those all taken away, didn't we, for whatever reason, for whatever it's worth.
Nice.
And Twitter as at Real Dave Mastiff. I'm on Threads as at Real Dave Mastiff as well, but I haven't even posted there because, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the most interesting place. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I do interact with people. Not all the time, but I do interact. So if people want to get in touch, they can always reach me through those.
Very cool. And guys, just as a reminder, we will have links in the description to everything Dave Mastiff. So please check it out, show some support. Like I say every time, these people are coming onto the show and giving their time to entertain. So likewise, show some support back to them. All right, so let's just get right to the beginning. The thing I like to start, I always say I grew up in the quote unquote shoot interview era, right? So I saw the high spots, the RFs, all that stuff, and everything was always, when did you first see pro wrestling? And I grew up with that, and I'm always fascinated. When did you first see it? When did you become a fan?
I think I first saw pro wrestling on the British holiday camp circuit. So around the coastal towns in Britain,
Oh,
we
wow.
have holiday camps, and usually the wrestlers turn up there once a week. It's a small show, so it's a ring. It'll be four wrestlers and a referee. They set up, they put on a 1 hour show, and then they set the ring down and they drive to the next town. You do doing that. They probably do two, sometimes three jobs a day in different towns. And it would have been when I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old on holiday with my parents that I saw one of these shows, and that would be my first introduction to professional wrestling. And from there, I saw what would have been, I think it would have been WWF Superstars on Sky Television when I was around 6 or 7, perhaps, when we had it put in at my parents' house, and kind of fell in love with it from there. And then I got to see a couple of like local town hall shows with uh, some of the stars of British wrestling. Um, can't really remember many, but obviously the big name in British wrestling through the 70s and 80s was Big Daddy, and I remember seeing him when I was around 6 or 7 years old, obviously at a local town hall show. So that's kind of when I became a fan, and
That's so cool.
I kind of dipped out of it a little bit when I went into what we call secondary school over here, and it was uh, kind of about 96, 97, so just pre-Attitude Era. I think that's when, if you look back over the history books and stuff like that, that's when business started to dip a little bit in the United States, and it kind of, I think people just kind of fell out of love with it just a little bit. But then by the time 98 rolled round and the Attitude Era became a little bit more prevalent and in your face, obviously, uh, kids at school started watching it again. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. I used to watch that when I was younger. Why is everyone so hyped up about it? Why is everybody crotch chopping everyone kind of thing? So I think I stuck a pay per view on. I think it was shown on Sky Sports over here, and I think it was maybe Royal Rumble or SummerSlam. I can't remember which one it was, but it was around '98, and I watched it in the crowd with red hot, the signs everywhere, and it was kind of it was a definitely a different era from the 2 3 years previous when I stopped watching for that little bit. So, and from then it was, I guess it's always been in my blood.